So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and well, and welcome to our webinar on the Rittal online configuration system. My name's Ryde. I'm the product manager for enclosures here at Rittal. I've been in this role now since October last year, and prior to that I was an area sales manager, so I've been at Rittal for quite some time now. What I thought I'd do today was take you through the configurator. It's a fairly newly updated system to us. It has some fantastic features and benefits. So what we thought we'd do today is just take you through a brief overview. And if anybody has any questions throughout the webinar, then please, if you just want to type them in, I can see them on my screen. I will try to answer them as I go along, but if there's any I can't answer during the session, then I can get back to people individually afterwards. Okay. Just to let you know as well, we've had a few technical issues this morning. It is purely just down to the system running a little bit slow. Obviously, we're trying to do this via a webinar software, so there's a little bit of delay there, but also we're very, very lucky that Rittal's been very good in having many people working from home at the moment due to the current situation. So we do have a lot of online traffic at the minute in regards to VPN and people using the online system. So yeah, please bear with us, but hopefully things will run smoothly. So first of all, where do we start? Basically, if we're onto the Rittal internet webpage, what we would recommend is that you use Chrome. Chrome is the best browser for opening this system in. That's both for the website and for the Rittal configuration system itself. So in future, if you're using this, please use Google Chrome to open it up. So if we get started, as you can see, this is the main screen, the Rittal webpage. To find the online configurators, on the top section under support, if we click down, then there's a number of different headings again. Under software, obviously we can see configurators, so all we need to do is click into this. From this, there's a number of different configurators that have online, IT configurators, things to help with chiller configuration, support arm system. But in this instance today, we're going to use this section here. So again, we just click onto more, so it's just a click through system. Throughout this, you may hear me refer to the RiCS system. All this is, as you can see here, it's an abbreviation of the Rittal configuration system. Rather than it being a bit of a mouthful, we just use RiCS as a short acronym, so we'll refer to that. So all we need to do is click to the right or underneath. Both of them start configurator, it'll take us to the same page. One thing to point out, if anybody's using this system and feels that they're stuck on something at some point at a later date when you're using it yourself, then by all means, we do have videos available for you to actually run through this. So there's one here, there is another one on the next click through page, but also please use YouTube. There's a number of different tutorials on there. So for now, we're just going to click on the Start Configurator, and this will open up onto our main page. So in the new system, we've got a number of different configurators. For anyone building Form 4 style panels in a switchgear environment, then we would suggest possibly at some point looking at the VX25 Power Engineering. This allows you to build a Form 4 style system using the VX25. It will do the configuration of the bus bars. This is something we can offer as a separate training session at a later date. If people want to give us some feedback, tell us that you want that, then we can create some content for you and we can put you in touch with product managers. We do have an online PDU configurator as well. And then the two I would look at predominantly would be the large enclosures and the small and compact enclosures. We will be launching the new AX and KX small and compact enclosures next week. We do have a webinar on this on Wednesday the 22nd, and at some point then we can provide another webinar on the configurator for this. However, today we are going to concentrate on the large enclosures. So all we need to do is click onto this. Again, below we can see here, there is another tutorial. So again, if anybody's stuck, there is multiple different places you can actually look at the videos online afterwards. In this instance, we're going to look at baying a large enclosure. So we've clicked on the large enclosures. The two options are single freestanding enclosure, and then we're going to be looking at the baying. The baying's one I'm going to use as the example today. So literally highlight this section and click through. This will take us to our main landing page. Okay, so a lot of this system is very, very simple to understand. So we're just going to point out some of the main features today of this system. So when we're selecting our first enclosure, which is our starting point, there's 3 different ways of doing this. We can either select through the actual physical dimensions of the cabinet, so the width, the height, and the depth. You can use the scroll down screen here, or we can simply type in a part number at the top and it will select the enclosure for us. Once you've selected that enclosure, as we can see on the right hand side, it then brings up a 3D image of that particular unit itself. And again, so we can manipulate these in different ways. And just by clicking the home button, it takes it back to where it was. Under this section as well, you can see the 2 headings, description and features. Under descriptions, if you open this up, it gives you a little bit more information about the actual enclosure itself, in terms of dimensions, part numbers again. It also gives you a link to a PDF datasheet. So if we click that link, it would take us to a PDF datasheet of this specific product, and it does that the whole way through this system as well. So we'll click into that a little bit later on. And again, if you want to view this enclosure in a larger format, simply open up the tab, and again, you can just view it. Okay, so you've selected our first enclosure, and it literally is a click-through process from here. Now, the system itself knows there are multiple different ways of baying enclosures together. In this instance, we're going to look at side-to-side enclosures, and it asks us how many enclosures we want to bay together. Now, in this process, it does show you can bay up to 6 enclosures. However, if you are asking Rittal to provide you with enclosures in a bayed format, then we would only ever provide you with 3 enclosures bayed together at any one time. And this is due to the loading indications which we give in the VX25 catalogue. We can supply more, but in terms of the enclosures fitted together at the time of transport, it would be 3 enclosures only. For this example, we're just going to look at 2 enclosures today. As we can see to the right hand side, it's already brought up 2 enclosures bayed together. The system itself initially puts another enclosure in of the same size. However, if we want that to be different, all we need to do, highlight the second enclosure. And again, we can see from our picture on the on the right hand side that it's the second enclosure that's been highlighted. Because the system knows the depth and the height already of the enclosure, it then gives us the option on width. So in this instance, we're going to choose an 800 wide enclosure. And again, our drawings have been updated straight away. Our part number at the bottom of the screen has been updated to reflect that. And if we click the description, again, this gives us the part number, the details, and the link to the PDF document for that second enclosure. Okay, at this point, it's now going to bay the enclosures together. As it bays the enclosures together, this is something we cannot change them moving forward. If we feel that the configuration is incorrect, then you would need to create a new specification from this point. But this is the only point that you can't actually change anything. If you add in accessories at a later date, those accessories can be changed, but the actual baying or unbaying of the cabinets can't be changed. That would require a new configuration. So at this point, click through next, and it gives us the warning there that once this has been done, it can't be changed. Okay, so it's now bayed both of our enclosures together. Now, the whole idea behind the RiCS system is to provide a selection and a configuration and a modification tool for panels. In some instances, people just want to use this system to create a very quick either drawing or a bill of materials, and that's absolutely fine. Some people want to use it for more detailed configurations or more detailed modifications. If we were looking in the first instance of just doing a quick selection of parts, very, very basic parts, to then look at the bill of materials, the left-hand side of our screen here shows baying accessories. What this means is it's going to give us a list of accessories that we can quickly add, but it will add them to both cabinets. So for instance, if we click on this section, side panels. So because the system knows the enclosures, we don't have to go looking for part numbers for side panels. We literally add them to our bill of materials. Again, plinth system, we don't have to go away and look for different part numbers for front and rear sections, for side sections. The only selection we need to make is, do we want a 100mm or a 200mm plinth? In this instance, we use a 100mm plinth. And at the same time, it's updating our drawing and it's adding this to our bill of materials. There's a number of other quick selection tools in here. So again, a system light. So we can add this system light to both enclosures. However, this doesn't stop us adding other accessories or other lights at a later section. We can do that using the power bar at the top of our screen here. But for now, we're just going to add it as a quick selection. The system light will add to both enclosures. And then in this instance again, we're going to use a comfort handle with a double bit insert. Okay. We can then look at our detailed view of the bed enclosures. And what this will do, this will fit all the components internally. And as I mentioned before, the system will automatically put these within the enclosure. We do have the option under system accessories to maneuver those within the enclosure itself. So if we see here, we can see that it's fitted the system lights. Now what it would do in most instances, it would fit them in the roof. However, the system knows that on a 600 wide enclosure, that light fitting won't fit in the top of the enclosure, so therefore it's fitted it on the vertical section of the frame. You may find that then this is not what you want, you prefer a smaller light that would fit in the roof, so we do have the option to take that out and add in a different light using the system accessories at the top. It's also added on our comfort handles, as we can see. We have the plinths on the base. Okay. If from this, all we want to do now is add that to our cart and create an online quotation or place an order, then we'd simply click Next Configuration. However, in this instance, we actually want to do more modifications to this panel. So from that point, we will click System Accessories, and this will allow us to modify each enclosure in turn. So to start with, we're going to look at enclosure number 1. And on our left-hand side, we have a number of different accessories that we can use. So in the first instance, we're going to pick a cooling unit. Now, obviously using cooling units, this system itself doesn't tell us what cooling unit we will need. We would have to select that, but that will be based on you doing a thermal calculation, hopefully using our online therm software, which again, you can download for free, which will tell you the cooling output required, which will then allow you to select the right cooling unit. So the first thing is, it's asking us in which mounting area are we going to place a cooling unit. So in our drop-down menu, we have two options, the door or the side panel. If we hover over these, as you can see on the right-hand side, it highlights which surface it is that you're looking at. So in this instance, we will click the door. Again, we're then given drop-down menus for which cooling unit we actually want. So in terms of the cooling unit itself, I'm going to use the output. So I'm going to look at a 1.6 kilowatt cooling unit. However, you could type in a part number here. Alternatively, you can just scroll down using the list. I'm going to select a 1.6 unit, which is one of our new Blue E Plus cooling units. And again, as you can see to the right, it's selecting the unit and it's instantly giving you all the detail that you need and a PDF document there. So we're going to confirm that we want that component. The system then as well asks us if we want any particular accessories. So again, things such as filter mats, which people generally tend to overlook, and again, door operated switches. Again, when you pick a door operated switch, it will automatically put in the connection cable as well for this. And again, to the right, we can see the component, we can take on more detail so we can make sure we're adding the right item. So we've now added that to our configuration here. We do have this section here, so we could remove it if we want, or we can remove it later on when we go to our overview of our configuration, our summary. So we're going to confirm that we want that cooling unit now. We want that fitted to our enclosure. What the system's telling us now is, okay, you have a cooling unit, you've selected it. Whereabouts in the door would you like it fitting? The area in red is the collision zone. This is something that we cannot fit into this area, and it's due to the tubular door frame. The area in white is the surface we can mount on. The area in blue is the cutout required for the cooling unit. We can place this using the X and Y coordinates. Alternatively, we can just drag this. If we were to go into the red zone, it will give us, there's a collision. So we move that back into an area that we feel is safe, and then we confirm that. And that will drag and drop that onto our enclosure, as we can see on the right-hand side. So it's fitted that cooling unit onto there. And again, using our viewer, we can see the cooling unit and where it's been fitted. Okay, so we're happy with enclosure number 1. We now want to modify enclosure number 2. We don't want to add accessories to this enclosure. What we actually want to do with this is we want to create some modifications in the panel itself. So what we need to do is highlight enclosure number 2. And this will bring up the same format again for us in regards to the accessories on the left-hand side. So again, we can change things such as the roof. We can put interior rails inside the cabinet. So if anybody's looking at interior rails, it will allow us to drag and drop these and place these accordingly within the cabinet itself. And again, different types of cooling options. However, for this enclosure, we want to create some holes in the door. So all we need to do is use our toolbar at the top, click on modifications. If you already have some modification details in a CAD format, you can simply import that CAD data. And it is a case of importing the CAD data, opening the file, and it will literally drag and drop them onto the enclosure frontage itself. So if you've got something specific from a previous project or something quite unique, then you can do that if you've already got a CAD system. In this instance, we're going to change, make the modifications manually. So again, hovering the cursor over these areas highlights which fascia of the enclosure we're going to be working on. So we can make multiple changes to the mounting plate, to the side panels, to the base plate. On this one, we're going to modify the front door. And again, that's highlighted on the right-hand side. We click on this. So again, it's bringing through the detail of the door that we can modify and the parts that we can't. So what we want to do is we want to edit the surface. Okay, different types of modifications for this surface, sorry. So again, we've got standard round cutouts, rectangular threaded holes, anti-rotation holes, and then there's predefined cutouts as well. So on the predefined cutouts, what that might be is things such as something for a fan and filter unit that we already have, a wall mounted cooling unit like we've done. But there's also details such as Harting connectors or Phoenix contact connectors. So there's already some predefined cutouts there. Now we're going to create our own holes. We're going to create some standard round cutouts. So again, we have the option of the X and Y coordinates if we have that information. If not, then we can drag and drop onto our actual surface here, as you can see. So if we look at a 50mm hole, okay. So here we have, we've got the 50mm hole based on the X and Y coordinates we had before. However, we need to move this up here. This is where we decided we want our hole, okay? However, it turns out we have a series of holes that we need to fit, and rather than do them individually, we know that they are equally spaced apart and they're all on particular rows. So what we can do is chain dimensions. So chain dimensions allows us to do a number of holes at one time. So in this instance, we're going to look at 4 rows of holes, 4 columns, and there we have our holes. However, they're a bit close together, so we're going to space those out a little bit better. So again, all we do is manually change this information. However, we can see here again, it's gone into the collision zone. So we've got a warning here that says you can't fit these into this area. So we can either change this information in here, we can change our X and Y coordinates if we need to, or we can simply drag these details down. So we can save that information. You can also use the icons on the bottom here. So this one's the copy feature. So we can copy this and then we can paste it. And again, it's giving us the same hole. Just need to drag it and drop it wherever we need it. We can take information away as well. So if these holes have been fitted into this enclosure, we've designed these on the front panel of the enclosure, we need to take a hole away. For instance, this one, we can simply highlight that one and we can delete it. So we can make the changes. So it's very, very simple and easy to do. So this is a configuration that we've decided we needed on the front panel of our enclosure. I'm going to save those changes. Okay, we've then decided on the side panel, again, it's given us our anti-collision. We're going to edit the surface again. anti-rotation hull, okay, we can drag and drop these wherever we actually need them. Giving you the features here of the anti-rotation hull, and again, we could go the same option with the chain dimension as well. All we need to do is save those changes. Okay, so our two enclosures have now been modified. What we want to do is look at our configuration, what we've actually done. So again, using the power bar, click to our configuration. And what this will do is it'll give us a summary of both enclosures. So if we look at enclosure number 1, we can see that we've fitted the cooling unit, and then we can see all the accessories that's been fitted inside. So if we decide actually we don't want the LED system light, we can delete this out. And we can then go back through to our system accessories and include different light fittings into this. I am getting a few questions coming through in terms of what format can we use in regards to CAD. I will go through those at the end because there is different file formats, and I will show you sort of how they download as well. So we've got our first enclosure. It's given us all the details. It's given us information here. We can then look at enclosure number 2. Okay, so again, all the components that's been listed here, we can take away anything away that we don't actually want. And then we're clicking through in terms of looking for an inquiry or technical data. So in this instance here, if you have an account with Rittal and we are looking at standard parts without modifications or pre-configured, then we can simply add to cart. Adding to cart will allow us to get a price of all the components loose, and you can obviously order from this online as well. If in this instance where we've done modifications, at this moment in time, we don't have the ability to price those online. Like I said, this system is fairly new and we are trying to improve this moving forward, and this is something we are looking at, but at this moment in time, we don't have it. So what we do at the moment now is you've built your configuration. You would then send this to the office using Ask for Inquiry. Literally would fill in our details here, and then the comment at the bottom would be, please price for modifications as well. Once you've put your details in here, it does save it each time. If you are looking to just get this information as technical data for your own use in the first instance, then all you do is click on technical data, obviously your details, your emails, and then press send. What that will then do is that will actually email you something such as this. So you'll get the RiCS file through. It will give you a bill of materials in a CSV format. It will give you assembly instructions. Then the CAD data, these are the formats that you get the CAD data in. So it's 3D, PDF, STEP, DXF. You can also get the information. It does this as standard. It will also automatically provide you the information for the Perforex machines. So a number of our customers using the Perforex milling and the laser machines. So you can download this information straight out of RiCS and straight into the Perforex machines. So to do those modifications, you can do this on the RiCS, download it straight into the Perforex machines. Anybody using ePlan, this information can be exported as well. What we would generally tend to suggest is, because the system is very good at building these in the first instance, is if you're using ePlan Pro Panel, in ePlan Pro Panel you would normally have to download the enclosure, then you would have to download the plinth, and then you have to download the bay and accessories. We'd actually suggest building the cabinets in RiCS first, and then importing it into ePlan. Once it's in ePlan, you can then still export it into its component parts, but it's actually quicker and more efficient to build it in the RiCS system first, bringing it into ePlan rather than downloading each individual component. This is probably just a bit of a tip for anybody there using ePlan. So once you've emailed yourself the link, you then click the download. That will download a file which contains all of this information. It gives you the RiCS, basically your configuration, your build, so that you can open that back up in the RiCS system and make any changes you want at any point. So if we open this up, we'd simply click on this file here and open our existing system. We can download everything individually if we'd like, so we can save the format that we're working on, we can upload configuration we've already done. We can download the bill of materials. We can simply print, which will print this screen that we can see here. So we've now emailed ourselves that information. It does give you a quick overview of the bill of materials there below, so we can see what we've been looking at. The file it will actually give you will then look like this. So in our configuration, we had enclosure number 1 and enclosure number 2. If I was to open this file, it gives me the different formats of the drawings themselves. So we can have 3D step files, we have the DXF files, we're given assembly instructions, and this is the machining detail for using our Perforex machine. So this is for the miller machine, this is for the laser machine. So the modifications that we made in regards to the cutout for the cooling unit and the holes, it's built into this already. So that would literally be uploaded straight into the Perforex machines to carry out the cutouts. So this is the file that you get through for each configuration. What that actually does in terms of assembly, when we look at this file, if we open this up, we then get that PDF format as well. So we can actually see in a PDF format what the enclosures look like when they're made together. So this is actually a really, really good tool from a tendering point of view as well. This is the depth of information that it actually gives you just doing it through the RiCS system, like I said, which is free. You can download the information. There's all the PDFs of all the cabinets, of all the accessories to be put together with one package. Okay. So I'm just having a look now at some of the questions that's coming through. So obviously we've covered in terms of what we can do from a CAD perspective. I have had a question from Oswaldo. Can I export files from Rittal configurations to Inventor? I would need to check that. Obviously we can do it in a CAD option, so I would imagine we can do it in Inventor, but I can look at that for you, Oswaldo. That's no problem at all. Somebody's asked, is it possible to export the finished configuration as a step file for further editing, e.g. adding dim rail, trunking, etc. to the mounting plate? Yep, that can be done. So like I said, once you've downloaded it into CAD or into CAD or into ePlan, then again, you can add other components on. You just have to do them manually. That's all where it's easier to do it in the RiCS system first, then download it all into one. Somebody has noticed that prints are missing off the PDF. Apologies, that's because I actually opened up a file I'd done, a configuration I'd done earlier on, just to make it easier rather than trying to do everything online, because we'd had a few issues with the system being a little bit slow. So yeah, PDF wasn't there, but if I was to email myself now, it would bring that through. Somebody has asked, does the bill of materials report for BADE panels automatically in the BAME brackets? Yes, the system itself automatically gives BAME brackets. Now what it does is it gives external BAME brackets as a standard. However, when we went to the configuration, you can manually take these BAME brackets out and change them for different types of BAME brackets. My only comment would be, in our TS8 range, you used to have to use different BAME brackets if you were transporting panels when BADE. The new VX25, all BAME brackets have been tested that they can be used for transportation purposes. But like I say, you can manually change them. Yes, that's not a problem. You can go back and manually change those. It'll be through this selection here. But as I mentioned before, all the BAME brackets themselves are designed to be used while for transports. That's not an issue. I've had a question, do we have a possible webinar with Form 4? It is something that we're working on at the moment. A colleague of mine, Mark Guest, who's our product manager for Power, is looking to do an overview of this. So we're looking to do webinar Wednesdays at the moment for the foreseeable future. What I will do is speak with Mark. He's looking to do one in the coming week, so I will double check with him. So stay posted on LinkedIn and you should see something coming through on that on the Form 4 side of things. Somebody's asked me, when I import the enclosure into ePlan, how do I get the full details of the configuration later on? I can find that for you. I'm not an ePlan expert, I'm afraid. I know that when you download it into ePlan, like I say, it gives you the assembled components. It will drop it as a bill of materials into all the files as well with ePlan. But I can get a little bit more information on that for you if you want, Abdullah. That's not a problem. Does anybody have any more questions on this? It's quite a simple system to use. What I would suggest is jumping online and having a play around with it. You can't hurt anything, you can't break it. Like I said, it's a selection tool. It's really good for people as well that don't have some form of CAD package. Like I said, it does have its limitations because it's not an engineering package, it is a select tool. but obviously the fact you can do modifications in this is really good. Like I said, jump online, have a play around with it, edit things, change things, add things in. It's very, very simple to use. Somebody's asked a question, does ePlan Pro Panel support importing small enclosures? Yep, so the ePlan already has the VX25 and our new AX and KX range on ePlan, so it supports the new ranges coming through as well. And then somebody asked, what did you press to send an email with the configuration files? Okay, so when we'd done our configuration at the very end, so when we'd built our panels up, we went to configuration, we went to next. There's the three options at the top here. So this is for Elias. So yeah, hi Elias. Obviously there's add to cart. That is literally for you to look at component parts and get a price and order online. Ask for enquiries if you are sending this to the office to ask them to quote for the modification work and the components themselves. It's get technical data. If you click get technical data, it will send the file to you. Like I did to myself, it will literally send you this, and that is the download there. Once you click download, it will download all of this information here. So the bill of materials, assembly, the CAD data, program, the Perfect programming, and the ePlan Pro Panel files. It will send all of that to you. Okay, I'm just looking at some more questions. Do all panel mounted components such as fans and vents automatically allocate the correct drilling details on the panels? I would have to look at that for you, David. I don't know about the drilling details. It would certainly do the cutouts, but in terms of the drilling details, I probably need to look at that a little bit more in depth myself. What I might do, David, if it's okay with you, probably come back to you directly to answer some of these questions that you have. Is that okay? Just making up your details. Like I said, there's lots of questions coming through, so sometimes it's just easier to go to people directly. But like I said, what I would suggest is go online, have a play around with it. We really would ask for people's feedback to what they think when you're actually using this in anger. Like I said, the system is still in its infancy to a certain extent. There's lots more to do on this, but obviously we can only make those changes if we're getting the feedback from people on what they think and what you would like to see, what you find is possibly is not so good. So please give us that feedback. Somebody has asked if there's an IT panel range available on the configurator. Not at the moment. The reason for that at the moment is our IT range hasn't been released yet in the VX. The VX range, we've had to do that in stages purely down to the number of accessories that have this enclosure. So we've released the VX industrial version, which is the VX25. VX IT will be coming through next year. Once that's through, then I would imagine we will have this added to the configurator, but at this moment in time, we don't have VXIT. There's possibly something coming through. We will let people know about that on LinkedIn and a number of other different methods of communication to let people know if that does come through, but we will certainly keep you appraised of that one. Does anybody have any other further questions on this at the minute? A little bit difficult, obviously, because I can't hear everybody, which is a bit of a strange thing, to be honest, but I can see some of the questions coming through. Hi, Elias. Yeah, will this video be made available afterwards? Not this one particularly, but like I mentioned before, if you go to the landing page on our website, so if you click here, so when you first went onto Rittal's webpage, under support, under the configurator section here, we click our main configurator. This is a video here, as you can see. There's a video there, and it's also on the next page as well. By all means, click on this. It's about a 5-minute video, and again, it will walk you through this process. Again, there's videos on YouTube. Like I said, you can't hurt anything on this system, so please have a play around with it. If you do have any further questions once you're using this, and anybody wants a bit more detail one-to-one, by all means let me know, and I'm happy to jump on a one-to-one, a Teams or a Zoom or a webinar meeting with you and walk you through things. That's not a problem. Or just send me some questions directly either via LinkedIn or drop them to my email. Like I said, please jump online, please have a play around with it. If not, then please refer back to the videos or contact myself. If we do get enough feedback that people would like to look at certain things in depth in regards to how do we add accessories, how do we do modifications, then we can do some further content, some videos specifically on that. or a further webinar specifically on those particular details that people want to see if there's a large group of people for that. So any feedback that you have, please send it to us, and we can create this content quite easily for you. Any further questions on this at all? Okay, well, I hope people found that informative. It wasn't particularly long, like I said, because it's quite a detailed system. There's a lot of information in there. We can't obviously run through it all today due to the volume of information in there. So this is why I think possibly then we can take something away and do some more one-to-ones with people, or some specific ones on adding accessories or doing some modifications. So yeah, I would thank everybody for your time. I wish you a pleasant afternoon. As mentioned before, we do have another webinar next Wednesday, and that will be to give details on the new AX and KX launch, which is released on Monday the 20th of April, which is next week. Please tune into the webinar on Wednesday. That will give you a broad overview of the changes between our old AE range and the new AX range. And I'll run through that with people next week. So many thank you for your time, everybody. And yeah, please stay safe and yeah, look after yourselves. Thank you.